Hey y'all, it's Amari Kalia and I am back with another video, and this video is episode 3 of my mental health series. And as y'all can see from the title, we're going to be talking about how to set boundaries so you can become that girl. And this video is very important to me because I care about boundaries a lot. Like, that's kind of like how I go about my day, is using my boundaries. I'm learning how to use boundaries like in the workplace, and that has been very challenging but well needed. But that's going to be another topic for a whole nother video, I promise, because that's something that I am struggling with but also becoming more powerful in. So keep watching this video if you are wanting to know how you can become that girl just by setting boundaries. Like I said, this is episode 3, so if you haven't watched the first and second video, stop and go watch the other 2 videos first and then come back to this one. It's not like they're connected, but they all talk about very good things, and I just think that the first video just really like starts off this series well. So go watch them videos, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, and at the end, like and comment on this video. I realize I really use my hands a lot, but I promise it's not because I have my nails done. It's because I really do use my hands when I talk. Okay, so what are boundaries? Boundaries are like a border, an invisible border that separates you and something that you do not want around you, inside of you, or just any type of energy that you don't want in your space or area. Like, that's kind of like the broad term or definition of it, but there are 6 different like healthy / relationship wise boundaries. So there is physical boundaries, there are emotional boundaries, sexual boundaries, time boundaries, intellectual boundaries, and material boundaries. So for the purpose of this video, I am talking about how your boundaries can help you become that girl. So the only boundaries that I'm going to be going in depth with are physical, emotional, and time boundaries. Boundaries are important because they help protect our energy, and they are essential to our mental health. So without boundaries, you're kind of just like all over the place. You don't know what you want, what you don't want, what you will allow, what you won't allow, and that's for yourself and for other people that are around you. It's not just about telling somebody no, it's about what you will and won't allow yourself to do. In order to like become successful or just like reach a milestone that you are, working on, it's just all about putting yourself first and figuring out how to set up those rigid borders so you will not be so easily to be distracted, and you'll be more able to get to where you want to be and just be comfortable and at peace and happy within yourself. So first, we're going to start with physical boundaries. Physical boundaries sounds exactly like how it is. It's about your body, your space, your touch, what you allow around you. It's also about physical activity and resting / sleeping. So when you are setting physical boundaries, you want to think about like if you allow handshakes, if you allow hugs, if you allow kisses on the cheek. Of course, with COVID, none of us are really allowing any of that. We don't want to hug you, we don't want to touch you, we don't want to shake hands, we don't want to do any of that. Like I said, especially with COVID. But even like outside of COVID, think about like who you will handshake with and who you will not handshake with. And the importance of that is you want to be clear about what you want in your energy. So like, say for instance, you're in public and you see somebody that you haven't saw in a long time and they want to shake hands or they want to hug. Well, you don't know where this person has been, what they've been doing. Do you really want to like transfer that energy and shake their hand or hug them? And it's really hard to say that because like when you see somebody that you haven't saw in a long time, you want to hug them, embrace them, but to be honest, you don't really know what type of energy they have, and you kind of like putting that onto yourself. And on top of that, germs, you don't know where they've been, and that's not just for strangers, that's for like family or anybody that's not in your day-to-day life, or even your roommates, even people that's in your day-to-day life. You don't really know if you want to touch them. So it's just important to be clear with that. Like when you see somebody and they want to hug you, be like, oh, okay, how about we just, do a little hand dab, or if you prefer to shake hands over hugging, or if you prefer hugging over shaking hands, just be very clear and learn how to communicate that in a respectful way. When it comes to your bedroom space, you want to figure out who you will and won't allow into your room. If you have your own apartment, or if you have an apartment that you share with roommates, you want to be clear about what type of energies that you are letting inside of your room. And say you have an event at your house, do you really want all those people coming into your room, onto your bed where you sleep at? Or do you want to come into your room where you do a lot of your self-growth and your self-improvement and a lot of your spiritual work? Do you want them coming and bringing their energy into your room? Those are the type of things that you should be thinking about when you're setting these physical boundaries, because your bedroom space is your physical, it's physical. Like, when people come into your room, that's another body coming into your room, and that's what your body is going to be around. So you have to think about if you want those people or anybody coming into your room, and figure out who you do and do not want to come into your room. Also think about like what foods and beverages you are allowing into your body, because that all comes with physical. What foods are you eating? Are they healthy? Are they not eating? How does this food and that food make you feel? How does alcohol make you feel? Are you going to drink? Do you allow yourself to drink? Or if you do, how often? Do you want to do once a week? Do you want to do once a day for some people? Do you want to do once a month? Like, those are all physical things that has to do with your body and your senses and your touch, and you just want to basically come to an agreement with yourself about what you will allow and what you will not allow. You should also be prioritizing exercise and sleep. So how often do you want to sleep? How many hours a day do you want to sleep? How often throughout the week do you want to exercise and move your body? Like, those are all essential and very important to your mental health. If you're not putting aside time to sleep, that is going to affect your mental health. That's going to affect your mood. That's going to affect your attitude. It's going to affect everything. If you're not being careful who you allow into your room, you might let a thief in your room. You might let in somebody with some very bad energy that might just throw off your energy. If you are just shaking hands with everybody you see, you might take in some germs. You might get COVID. You might get whatever. You just don't know what you are allowing yourself to be accepting. So just figure out what physical boundaries you want to set for yourself. And the best way I can say to do that is just think about situations that you have been in. Think about how you have felt during those situations. So when you are in public and you shake somebody's hand, how does that really make you feel? Like, do you really want to shake their hand? Or when people come into your room, like, do you really feel like they are making your room a better place, or do you think that they're making it worse? When you eat certain foods, how do those foods make you feel? And once you do all of that, and it's going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that you can figure out the same day. But once you figure out all these things, just set boundaries and figure out what you want to allow and what you do not want to allow. So one of my favorite things to talk about is emotional boundaries, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Emotional boundaries is basically like boundaries regarding what you allow yourself, how you allow yourself to express your emotions, and then how you allow other people to express their emotions to you, and how much you can take in. And this is very important because you have to watch who you talk to. You have to watch what you say to people, like how much information you're telling them. Like, you don't want to dump all of your problems and emotions on people. And it's also important because you don't want to take in too much information, because if you're an empath, or if you're somebody who really just can feel when somebody is feeling down or feeling sad, and you take on all of their emotions, that's going to take a huge toll on you and your body and your mental health. I personally do not do well when people try to dump all this stuff on me, because I just don't have that mental capability. Don't get me wrong, I am very, very, very in tune and intuitive, and I can definitely tell when somebody is down or sad, or when they're feeling some type of way. Like, I can pick it up quick. But that does not mean that I'm going to try to figure out exactly what's wrong with them, especially if they don't come to me. I believe in like self growth and self improvement. I believe that a lot of things have to be done alone. So I don't like to bother people. Like, if I see that somebody is, if it's a kid, or if I can see that somebody is crying, okay, I might, go check on them and make sure they're good. But if I just notice that somebody isn't as happy as they usually be or whatever, I might ask like, hey girl, you good? But I'm not gonna like push them to like tell me what's wrong with them, because they may need that time and space to just figure out on their own. Now, it's different when that person comes to you and they want to talk to you. So that's a whole nother thing. Like, when somebody come and talk to you, it's very easy, especially for me, to like just sit there and want to like give somebody advice, or sit there and want to listen to somebody talk about every single thing that's wrong with them. And there's nothing wrong with that, but eventually you have to put a stop to it and tell this person like, okay, like, I have taken in as much as I can. Is there any way we can continue this conversation later? Or can we continue this conversation another day? But you have to know when it's time for you to take a breather, and when it's time for you to kind of like put a cap on it. Like, okay, I have taken in enough emotional feelings and all of that, and one day I think it's time for me to stop. And that's really important, because you already are dealing with a lot of things on your own. We all are, one way or another. So it's not okay for somebody to just come and dump everything that they're feeling on you as well. It's okay for somebody to vent to you, but you have to be more self-aware and tell that person like, hey, like, I'm really sorry. I would love to continue talking to you, but I need, to take some time and just process and regroup and just, make sure that I'm okay before we can continue this conversation. Especially when somebody is talking about trauma or any type of sexual or physical abuse. Those are hard things to talk about. And yeah, it may not be happening to you, but you can feel it. And that's energy that you are taking in. So that might be taking a toll on you. So it's really important that you figure out how to set boundaries when it comes to your emotions as well as someone else's emotions. It's also important to prioritize how you let out your emotions. So you want to make sure you're doing this in as healthy of a way as possible. So if you like to write your emotions, or if you like to talk them out, make sure that whoever you're talking to, you can trust them, and make sure that they are okay with hearing what you have to say, within a given time or in that moment. Or if you're the type of person who likes to move around, me, when I'm feeling very stressful or emotional, I like to be alone, and I also like to kind of let it out by working out and exercising. That's literally my therapy. I say that all the time. I love to go to the gym because it helps me relieve a lot of stress and kind of like process a lot of the thoughts that I'm having as I am, moving throughout my workout routine. So when it comes to setting emotional boundaries, just figure out what is the best way for you to let out your emotions in a healthy way, and then also think about how much you want to allow yourself. And honestly, you won't know until you're in a situation with that person, but just always be self-conscious and self-aware of when you have heard enough and you are ready to kind of break off and process and regroup and get yourself together when you are listening to someone else's emotions. And then also when you're, letting out your emotions with somebody, make sure that you are self-aware and you are self-conscious enough to be like, okay, so I'm gonna stop it right here because I feel like I'm dumping a lot on you, and I don't want you to, be taking on all of my emotions. Or you don't even have to say all of that. Just stop when you know that you have said too much, or when it is just a perfect stopping point for you to let that person breathe and just kind of like make sure that they are okay and not taking in too much information that they can bear. And this will help you and the other person. But emotional boundaries are just very important because you want to make sure that mentally you are self-aware and you're self-conscious of yourself and how you are projecting and how someone else is projecting onto you. And this is all just about becoming that girl. If you want to become that girl, you just need to make sure that you are, once again, self-aware and self-conscious, and you want to make sure that you are aware when you are emotional. I didn't even tell you guys what becoming that girl is. Becoming that girl is just really about reaching your goals and creating and starting new habits so you can become the person that you envision yourself as. And so where emotions come into play is you have to be aware that you are experiencing different type of emotions, and instead of you bottling all of that in and then eventually saying forget your new habits, forget your goals, forget your boundaries, you process those feelings and emotions, and that will help you become that girl because you are aware and you are including your new habits and including your new coping mechanisms. That way you won't go backwards, you're continuing to still go forward. Okay, so the last type of boundary that we're going to talk about so you can become that girl is time boundaries. And this is very important, and it really connects all of the different boundaries, because at the end of the day you have to prioritize everything based on time for the most part. So time boundaries is just how you spend your time and how you prioritize your time. So this is very important to me because I am a very busy person. I am a full-time college student. I have 2 jobs. I have a retail job, and then I have an at-home work-study job. And then I also am a YouTuber, and I'm also someone who's working to be a health and wellness coach. So I have a lot of things on my plate. I'm a senior, so I'm also, juggling moving out of state once I graduate. I have a lot of things going on. I have a puppy, I have a boyfriend, I have friends, I'm in a sorority. I have a lot of things that I am juggling on a day-to-day basis. Literally so many things. So time management is very, very, very important to me. In order for you to have good time management skills, you need to set boundaries. So what that'll look like is how you prioritize working, like the central things. So working, your spiritual life, so your religion, or however you practice speaking with your higher power, self-care, and then I guess some of the main things that you have to do. So if that's school, or if you only work, then how are you prioritizing how many days you work a week, all that type of things. It's just about how you prioritize your time. So how early will you wake up, how early or late will you go to bed. Those are all things that you have to take into account. Now, where the boundaries come in is you have to be able to tell people, no, I am not available to do so-and-so. And that is very, very hard. And this is coming from somebody whose roommates are her friends. And so that's very hard for me. I love a good Taco Tuesday. I love to go out. I love to go out to eat. So I catch myself all the time, wanting to go do something, knowing that I need to do something else. So I have to set up these boundaries, no, you cannot do anything until you are done with this, that, and the third. Or no, you cannot go out today because you are supposed to be practicing self-care today. Or whatever it is, setting up time boundaries is just all about what you are making important for that given day, week, month, whatever it is. So I would say start off by writing down some goals. Write down what you want to accomplish this week or today or this month, however you want to do it, and then figure out. You can either label them by how important they are, or you could prioritize them based on what has to be done first. So I'll give y'all a rundown of my schedule. So I only work at my retail job on Fridays and Saturdays because I personally hate working for people, and I get paid a great amount to the point where I don't have to work 4 or 5 days a week to make decent money. So I only work Friday and Saturday, and I do 8 or 9 hour shifts and knock all of it out in 2 days. And then Sundays are my self-care / homework / hang out with my boyfriend day. So I don't work on Sundays, and I don't do homework on Sundays, unless I have to do homework on Sundays. But I usually try to finish all my homework by Friday. So during the week, I wake up between 5 and 7 a.m. 7 a.m. is the latest. 5 a.m. 4:35 is the earliest I wake up. And I work out meditate, manifest, all of my spiritual things that I do. I usually do that in the morning. I make time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I make breakfast every single morning, even if it's just an oatmeal bowl with all the things in it. I still make time for breakfast. I make time for my puppy, of course. He's something that I have to prioritize. He's my responsibility. And then I have an internship on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I have a work study job that only takes me an hour to do. Once Monday through Friday, 1 hour, so that's nothing. I prioritize hanging out with friends, meetings. Y'all get the picture. I'm very busy. I prioritize my YouTube. I post every Sunday, but I record my video one day throughout the week, edit it, and then I'm set. So this is the schedule that I have for myself. Of course, y'all's schedule will not look like mine, but basically I prioritize, the main things that I prioritize is my higher power, food and nutrition / exercise, so my health and wellness, income, so I make sure that I always have income no matter what. So a job for now won't last long. I'm gonna be working for myself eventually. And my puppy and my boyfriend. Those are like the top things that I prioritize. And my family, but my family is away, but I make sure that I talk to at least one family member once a day. But anyways, all of this just relates to becoming that girl, because you have to make sure that you are doing what you need to do in order to reach your goals and be that girl that you want to be. And you can't do that if you don't have boundaries for how you spend your time. And another thing to think about is like how you spend your free time. Me personally, my free time is not free time. That's not time that I can go hang out with people. My free time is really just like time for me to come up with more ideas for my business, my YouTube channel, and self-care time and chill time. I use my free time as chill time. I make separate time for like hanging out with my friends, like Friday nights after work, because the latest I get off is 9:15. So I still have time to come home, shower, and go out with my friends on Friday nights. That's really my going out day, is Fridays. So other than that, my free time is really focused on myself and my self-growth and my elevation and everything that I'm working on for myself. So when it comes to you, just write down your goals and the things that you are working towards and figure out when is the best time for you to do these things, and then come up with boundaries. So tell yourself like, okay, I'm not gonna do anything until I finish this by a certain time, or I'm not gonna say yes to this until I do this. But it's really self-explanatory. It's just learning how to manage your time and prioritize what's important to you and what needs to be done as soon as possible, or at whatever convenience it'll be for you when it comes to your goals. So y'all, when it comes to setting up boundaries to become that girl, it's just really all about putting yourself first. Go watch my first video of this series. It's all about putting yourself first and your goals first, and just like figuring out what you will and won't allow yourself and others to do. And when I say others, I mean like what people around you are doing and what you allow yourself to be around. Me personally, I have been trying to stay away from people that are very negative and very like energy vampires is what one of my friends call it. People that like suck the life out of you. Like, I don't want to be around nobody like that, because I am at a place where I am trying to really transform my mind and everything that I allow myself around. So it's like, I don't want to be around nobody that's kind of like not in that headspace. And honestly, there isn't really nobody around me that is. So it's been kind of hard for me. But at the end of the day, I'm just realizing that it's all about me. But you still want to make sure that you're setting up boundaries for who you allow yourself around and what type of energy that you allow yourself around. So when you want to become that girl, just put yourself first and set up boundaries so you can reach your fullest potential no matter what. Without boundaries, you will be all over the place, very unorganized. you will be allowing any and everything into your space, into your mind, into your energy, and that is not what we want to do, because we want to become that girl, which means that you're going to have to do that girl things. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and comment on it, and please look forward to next week's video. I have one more video for this series and you guys do not want to miss it.